Alright, so I'm going to start by taking the transfer case out of this thing. You got two of these cross members, whatever they call them in Britain, I don't know, but anyway, over here in America, we call them cross members. You got, on each side of one of these, you got 4 10mm bolts, so 16 total to get both of those out. Heads were stripped out on mine, so I had some extractor bits that I was able to easily finagle them out of there. And it looks like on this wonderful creation that the exhaust has to be dropped down. So thankfully mine already had the cats cut off of it, so I'll just unhook the flex pipe on both sides there. That'll be fine. And I guess we'll take the muffler or resonator off. I'm not going to film that either. And we got motor mounts here at the transfer case, it looks like, on both sides. Get those out. The coolant lines, there's one of them, I can't remember where the other one is. Get those out. Get the bolts off. Tiny inspection plate. So that should be loads of fun. I'd much rather work on medium duty trucks. It's a lot easier to get to this stuff in this cramped little area, but anyway, I'll bring you back once I've dropped down the exhaust, and we'll proceed with loosening up the motor mount bolts and getting the cooler lines off and inspection cover off. Alright, so I'm going to cover removing the center console here. You can just kind of pull up on the edges of this, and this will clip out of your way. And then I'd like to get another one, but I'm not so sure I will, or I would just rip this in two, try and twist that off. But in the interest of maybe I want to use that again, I'll do it this way. So putting it on will be the reverse process, obviously. And there we go. So for the trans shifter here, I'm not sure if by the factory default it just lifts up like that, but somewhere in here there's something I can, yeah, there we go. I don't think you can see it, but there's a little button in there that you just feel around. It's a little metal round thing. It's right near the shifter. Shh. It's right near the shifter, and I think oh, there it is. There's a screwdriver for it. Oh, there we go. So it's kind of hard to tell what it's in because the transmission is so screwed. Oh yeah, I don't even have the cable hooked up now, but it was like sticking and acting all kinds of weird before. That should be 2, 3. Drive maybe? Neutral, hopefully. So, the consensus on removing this, and this will be my first time taking the console out of one of these, but so you squeeze the button and pull up with it neutral. And there you go. Try not to have your face over that or anything, because that could definitely hurt. And then you can just pull the I'm not sure how long the wire is for this mode button though, but there we go. Can lift up and see what's going on down in there. And now that this is off, I could actually show you that solenoid I was talking about. Well, that's wonderful. Yeah, it is. It's part of the solenoid. There's this little black button right here. You stick your finger in there and you find that fork. You just feel on down here and you feel that indentation for it, and you can just push it and maybe over the back to get it out of park. Interesting stuff in here. There's some broken plastic. There's some razor blades. Yeah, some toothpicks and some change. I have no idea what that was. That looked kind of interesting. So, I'm going to snap the electrical for this. Hopefully not break it off. Oh, look, there's a jumping spider.
That's a jumping spider. It's a good one.
Yeah, it is. You know it.
Alone.
Well, I'm not sure how to get this out, but I'll bring you back in. Alright, so I thought I'd show this part to you because I haven't actually seen a clip like this, but I haven't taken one of these apart before. But anyway, you want to mash down this little tab there because this right here moves, and it was over here up against the back of the connector. I thought the connector just pulled out the way the wires are going in, you know. But turns out you push that down and you push that right there with the three little ridges sticking out. And then it pulls straight out, I think. And then for these switches here, they're already all floppity flop. But that does just pop off, but probably not now. It's probably broke. And you got some screws here to take care of to get the switches out. Make sure to lose them. Looks like that's already been no problem for whoever's working on it before, because I made sure just to break it and glue it back on there. I don't see any other screws. There's supposed to be 4 holding it in, I think. So I did switches on my old one a long time ago. Oh no. Ender switch came off, huh? Thanks for keeping a sharp eye out there for me. So I'll unhook all this madness here real quick, and I'll bring you back in a minute. Alright, so you got 2 Phillips screws back here in the back, which on mine were already modified for easy removal, but yeah, here they are. Look at that. And then you got 2 up here as well, which were pretty much about the same situation. And on the boot, you just kind of like push down on it and just, you know, just work your way into it or something. You'll figure it out. And then you slide this puppy on out. Hey. Oh, yeah, the other thing, you gotta unhook the window switches. I'll make one when I put it back together and show how that goes. Anyway, get your window switches all unhooked. Once you get that pulled back, you also have to unhook your cigarette lighter. I shouldn't have to show you how to do that. But Mm-hmm.
Why's the opening? Just the other opening. This is a one.
Well, you kind of get it. I gotta get the cigarette lighter unhooked and I'll get it out of there. Alright, so now we'll want to release that cable for the parking brake. Which I ain't happy that the junkyard I got mine off of felt the need to cut this end of it, but hey, look here. So you want to pull that part of this clip towards you so you can slide that sucker off of there. And make sure and lose it too, because yeah, that'll be easy to find. And the same with the pin. You see that out there. And it's probably a better idea just to put that back in there where it came from, to not lose it. This might be a first for me. But I don't feel the need to be looking for this. So, okay, so as far as I'm aware, there's nothing else has to be done topside to get this thing out. Oh yeah, I'll probably have to do something about getting that nut off there to get this cable off, so I'll figure out something to do with the size of that. And I don't know what else next, but I'll get to it. So, this is a real quick one. Here's how to get this thing into neutral without the key. Now, pretend that flippity flops on there with the shifter and all that, but you can just pull it up. Usually. Looks like mine's been broken a little, but anyway. Lift the thing up. Right here is your interlock solenoid. Then when you press your brake pedal, it clicks back to make it to where you can throw her into gear. So anyway, you see that little, let me see if I can zoom up the K in on it here. You know, it's not, plain camera's not focusing, but anyway, there's a button right there that you push. You just push that and there you go. And you can throw it in neutral or whatever you want to do. See, it's that easy. So, alright, so I've already removed the drive shafts. And you don't have to take the brake drum off, but I did. There's the inspection cover to have a look at how much fun it is to try and get the bolts off the torque converter. I actually know I've taken a trans out on one of these before. I imagine you really want to go about it where the starter's at, probably. Did disconnect the trans cooler lines. There's one there, and there's one up in there that I haven't got to yet. Right here for your shift cable linkage, it goes in there. It's pretty easy to get that off. Then you got these 4 bolts on each side to get the trans off the trans mount. I gotta do some consideration. Maybe there's an easier way of doing this. I'm wondering if we can just get the bolt here out of the frame rail or what. I'll do some looking at that. It's really tough to get anything topside of this transmission, really, is it like that? So I'm going to work on removing the cooler lines to just get them out of the way, because that's all that's going to happen is they're going to jam up the works. And I'm going to look and see if I got clearance for the radiator and fan, because then I'm going to have to tilt on this engine some to get it there, so I got to look about that. But this is where I am with this thing right now, and try to bring you along for as much of the work as I can. Alright, here's a little update on what I've done. These are 1/2 inch or 13 millimeter bolts. I'm going to share a picture of where they're all located and what direction they come from, because some come from the front, like that one, and some come from the back. And I got all the easy to get ones at the bottom out, and also working on the starter next, but I did get these 4 15 millimeter bolts out and a 15 millimeter nut, and this right here is pretty loose in there. So my game strategy here is to stick this motorcycle jack there under this, like how I usually do transmissions, and use it to hold this thing up, and then pop the other transmission mount over here on the other side out, so I can tilt this puppy back to get to the other bolts on the top end of it there. Like I said, there's a diagram I got that I'm going to share as well that shows the location and which way their bolts are coming from, or however you want to say that. So anyway, I'm not going to film trying to get the bolts out, so it's just frustrating and stuff, and you probably aren't going to be able to see much. There's not a lot of room under here for me to work. But yeah, that's just kind of like pressing up against it, you know, kind of thing. If you hold the transmission up, you can take that mount right here out of the equation. So that's what I think I'm going to do, and then lower the transmission so I can get to everything on the top a little easier. I'm also going to have to unhook this parking brake cable here from the top side as well. I haven't done that yet, so I'll get that off there before I get to dropping this thing down. Anyway, it's just going to be dangling from it. All that fun stuff. Alright, so on this side it's like incredibly easy. Your socket itself won't fit through this, but you put an extension through there and then a socket on the other end, and it'll go straight up to that bolt. On this side though, on the back, you can put the socket on and stick it up in there and get the bolt off. The mounts on this side are super easy. On that side you'll have to use a wrench on one of them. The other can be gotten with the swivel. So now I'm going to take this motorcycle jack here and I'll secure the transmission with it and remove the mounts on the side. Hey buddy. Oh wait, yeah, I guess before I do all that and stuff, I believe I'll get the starter out of there. I've not done one of those on these either, but I imagine that's a 15 millimeter bolt on either side of it. It's hard to see. I can't really see it, so I doubt you're going to either. But I'm trying to find out how to get that heat shield off of it and go from there. So yeah, further look at this thing. I don't know if you can see it or not, because that looks like a Allen or Torx. Yes. It's got a smooth side on it though. It's not a socket. Okay, so after consulting the internet, there's another feller on there with a helpful video about doing a starter on these, and he suggested that you're gonna need an 8mm socket, or sorry, you need an 8mm Allen head or hex head, an H8, and there's 2 of them on there. And he said also this is the way to see the top of it, and I'm not sure if you can. I can't really tell, but anyway, I should be able to figure it out somehow or another that way. That taking off the tire and the splash guard there might help, but I'm actually just going to try to tackle it without doing all that, but we'll see. I'm not going to film that because there ain't nothing. Alright, so getting this starter out, I wanted to show you a little trick I used to strip that stupid bolt out. I stuck a little piece of 2x4 in there between the ratchet and the block so I could push as hard as I could on that without pushing my my fitting sideways, so it was stay engaged fully into the stupid hex bolt like it's supposed to. It's really a pain. So anyway, yeah, there's I don't know if you can see it. Anyway, so I can slide this camera up in there getting better. I don't know what you can see. I can't see the camera, but I try to look through there to figure out what to do on that top one, and that's how I'm getting it out. Alright, so there it is. The reference being the front of the engine this way and the transmission being right here, you know, kind of thing. This is how the starter is in the thing. You just got two of those 8mm H8 or hex bolts, which are awful. The top one I most definitely had to do by hand. The bottom you can definitely do with the impact if you want to use a couple extensions, which I did. Alright, so I got the passenger side mount out over there. Hoping that, yeah, I did something like that with it to where I couldn't get to the mount, but maybe I can. Woo! Look at that. Because really, when I stuck those boards in there, I didn't really have a order to sticking them in there, really. So, like really, this one right here is the only board that's really got the weight on it, so I'm still gonna have to do something about properly supporting it on the jack, so I can go about the rest of this mess. At least starters out, I guess. So really the game plan here is just to lower the transmission down so I can get to all these other bolts. I'm also going to pull the cooler lines down. I'm not going to reuse those because what happened, I'm going to put new lines on here, probably just hydraulic hoses. But these things wind up getting holes in them and leaking and stuff, so they suck. I just ain't gonna fool with it. I've had one before. So yeah, just get the mounts off here at the back. Hopefully I'm going the right order. If not, you'll learn later when I tell you. So I decided, since the starter's such a pain in the keister to deal with, I went ahead and bought a new starter. I guess you could probably imagine what I'm trying to show you here. One of these is not a lock. It's this one right here. So I ordered it on Amazon, you know, cheap and prime, and this is what they sent me the first time around. And there was even paperwork with it in the box and everything showing the tests that they'd ran on it. And I went ahead and wrote back their customer service thing, and it was like, this don't fit a Land Rover Discovery, year 2003. I don't know what that's for. Then 2 days later, here's what came. It looks just like that, because it's probably right. I ain't put it in the truck yet, but when we lay them here and orientate them in this thing, I mean, come on, you can see as well as I can that that is not that. I mean, somebody just made a goof probably, but I'm glad that wasn't somebody else's stuff I was working on. And here is the box of the one that came that was correct. here is the incorrect one. Look at this. Now, the barcode's the same. The UPC label number is the same. Now look at this. We got 410-24201 versus 410-24045 with the same barcode. Oh my goodness. But they definitely are not the same starter. But there is a different part number on the box. And, this is the one that the first one came in. And so return all printed up. It even came with its specs, sheet and all that good mess. And the other one? No. This right here is all it had with it. It was just a piece of foam. Hope it's a good one. Alright, so I got all the bolts here. And all the bell housing. Got the transcooler lines off. I still do have the linkage up there for the transfer case to deal with. Hoping to maybe get that down some before I have to unhook that. If not, then I'll get that too, but the wiring's still hooked up. So I got all the bolts out, and you can see there's a little crack there where it's already started to separate when I just gave it a little nudge. So get you set up somewhere fun to watch, maybe. Hopefully it don't fall off of there. And I don't mean the camera either. But if it does, it's not a good transition. So. And yes guys, I am leaving the torque converter bolts in it. I didn't fool with it. I'm not concerned about the pump seal. That's already been thrashed, I'm sure. Guys, did you see what I did with that pry bar? Oh, here it is. This right here will make it easy getting started, hopefully. Let's get all this crap out from under me.
There's a bolt there too.
Is it under where the wheels are going?
No, it's just on the side next to the...
Well, if it ain't going to be in the way of the wheels, I ain't worried about it.
I don't think so.
Use some foot power.
Gotta give your feet using.
Alright, be quiet. There she goes. I think she's... Everybody be ready to get back, because it might fall now, because it already come out the... Torque converter already come out the front pump, so it's just kind of dangling there. Yeah. There we go. That's exactly what I wanted to see happen. That was too easy for something like me. As far as the pulling it out part.
Yeah.
And here I'm dropping the trans. I don't know what kind of cool noises we're going to get to hear along the way, but just keep going down with it, and it's coming out. Hopefully I ain't about to pull anything up too much. Well, that shifter cable still got some give to her. But really guys, here's why I did this. Because I knew this. How are you really supposed to get to those blame bolts? Somebody answer me. Is this why I never see videos of it on YouTube? I mean, look at the clearance here. How are you even supposed to get the nuts on this thing? I mean, that is just... This is why I got stumped when I was doing my own personal truck a long time ago. Oh, it looks like you do come in from the starter when you rotate this thing around, which I'm still going to have to do. It'll be a lot easier with the trans out of the way. But you definitely don't reassemble them like that. It'll be more fun putting this back in than it was taking it out, to be sure. One thing I noticed for sure here is I got some fuel lines that are attached, and I'm going to have to do some consideration for that, I guess. I don't know. Hopefully it just... Why would you strap this to the transmission? I mean, why is it not to the frame instead? But I like Land Rovers, but some of the way people thought this up was just a little stupid. Oh yeah, and that's not the starter. There's a little well, there's a little inspection right there. I forgot to mention this earlier when I took the plugs out. They're on both sides. And I don't think I can get you to see it. That's how much fun it is to get the holes on there. That inspection cover there will not get you access to the bolts. So I'm going to figure out whatever's going on with the fuel line there so I don't just break something plastic off the fuel rail up there, something incredibly crazy. And I'll bring you back to finish rolling this trans out. So I got the fuel lines taken off and it just slid right on off of there. Well, it don't go any further back, but I'll try the foot method. Guys, back up. Everybody back up. Try and lower it. Oh. It might be about at the maximum for that cable. Oh my goodness, there's not much on the jack. What's it sitting on?
Hit the exhaust
Did
with a piece of wood.
It's actually off of there, so it's not touching the engine right now. And it's hitting the exhaust there, and the cable for the four-wheel drive, the transfer case selector rather, is causing it not to go on. So I will have to unhook that before I can drop this out of here. So that could be for tomorrow's doings. It's technically out of there though. This ratchet strap ain't even holding it. There we go. Let's Alright, so you got a 10mm bolt holding the transfer case selector cable to the housing, though, I did not disconnect the actual lever from the shift lever or anything. But that should earn me enough to hopefully drop this out. I don't think the cable's quite the issue yet. I think it's jammed up on something somewhere. Terrified to try to slide this thing sideways. It's gonna fall on me next. Be on the other side and see what's going on. I think y'all still got good light. I don't really care if this transmission falls, as long as it ain't on me. You know what I mean? It's done for. I'm not likely going to rebuild it. I will take it apart on here and show y'all though, because it seems like that'd be fun times for me. I'm kind of interested in how bad I cooked it. Yeah, I got it down on the ground. I don't know if this is worth noting at this part of the video, but over here you got a connector for the shift position sensor, so that the truck knows when you put it in gear. For some reason it does not want to come out of here. All this over here obviously is seen heat because the plastic protection on the wires is melted pretty seriously. Some of it's all the way gone, so I'm likely to have to replace wires in this section anyway, just because. So I'm not going to cry over breaking that. It's just a stupid pigtail that won't come off. Well, anyway, this stuff's tortured after what happened to this transmission. She got what? So you can see the transmission's technically out of it, but you gotta disconnect a couple of things here. Looks like we got some melted vent pipes there. That's really interesting. But yeah, buddy, the fuel line's running up through there, the back of the head of this thing. And then, anyway, I'm calling it a night. This is just doing this on Thanksgiving for 2021, so happy Thanksgiving, y'all. Alright, so I got this thing off the jack because I don't want to lift this thing up high enough to clear the trans in the jack. I'm just going to slide the thing out, but I got everything unhooked. There's the shifter and linkage and a washer for me to lose. Unhooked all the wiring. Well, I got one over there on the side for the transmission selector, but I'm going to get that in a second when I drag this puppy out of here. So I got this stuff right here on the side to get off. This connector right here, I've tried getting it off, and I'm gonna get a wrench to try and twist that off. If I have to though, I'll just take that right there off, and you know what, I think I should probably do that anyway rather than fool with this plug. You can tell the wiring looms, but it's gone on this side, but the wire's definitely got a little heat thrown at them. So anyway, I'll get those off, I'll bring it back for sure. Alright, so I got it free. I just took the switch off of there because it's been sitting for a couple months. I actually want to start this up and let it run a little bit. And then that right there, that just broke from how hot it got. Just runs the plastic, so I didn't have structural integrity left. Just trying to slide this dead boy out of there. So there you have it. I got the transmission out of this Land Rover. Let's cover what happened underneath. So here on the donor, they'd cut some stuff off, so it made it easier for me to figure out where it went, or how to get to it, or what to take off. Anyway, you got a 10mm bolt right here. When you're under this thing, you're likely to take these out, because that's exactly what happened to me. But this here's a short one. These are long ones. If you're taking something out longer than this, then you're wasting your time. You want to reach the bolt that's all the way back on the passenger side, on top of the transfer case, and you won't miss it. So then, once you do that, you got the cable free 15/16 on this nut right here, and just take that off. And you got a clip holding this guy on. I don't care if I mutilate this one, the other one's fine. Anyway, I'm glad the one in the truck wasn't that hard, but you can pull the pin out once you've freed this clip. It's stuck in there. I'm not going to bother recording all fixing that. And then you got these wires, And as I already showed you, you got the one here for your shift selector switch. And then you got some other wires that tab in right there. And if that's a connector, then there you go. And then that one right there. And that should have you going. And here's that hard to get to transcooler line. I can't remember what size it is, I'm sorry. I might have said something early in the video, hopefully. There's the cable that comes down from your park and brake lever to your brake down. So yeah, this one does look a lot rougher. It suffered well. So then once you've got that out, this is the kind of mess you're left with. I would say before you do any other work, just clean up your work area and make sure all your bolts and washers, nuts, and brackets are properly lost somewhere. That's what I do. And see, what I do is I like to put them in a coffee can, and then I like to throw them out in the yard and see how many of them I can find. And that must be what happens if I lose bolts, right? Alright, so, like I was telling you, she got hot. Wiring length is all gone up yonder. Wow. It melted off the vent tubes. See, look at the side there. There's no vent tube coming out there near where the transfer case is, right before it connects the transmission. There's no vent tube because it burned it up. And watch out, there's fuel lines hanging out here too. And that cable there is for your regular transmission selector, and the other one is for the transfer case. And saying, you gotta watch out, you pull some of these wires down and mangle them. I'll spend time to make sure they're properly screwed up later. Just cut them all the way through instead of part way. So I'm gonna clean up my work area, and then we'll move on to getting this torque perverter out. Yeah. So in this video, I'm gonna cover putting in a new starter. You'll notice this one's missing a transmission. Right here's the torque converter. So here's the front passenger side of the, well, back side of the passenger of the block, but replacing from the forward side. If you're taking it out, you got 8mm hex heads bolts that have to come out, and 13mm for the mains. I guess it's probably gonna be better to hook the wire up before committing to hanging that thing up in there. And this starter was like in the $75 range on Amazon. You can buy a more expensive starter if you want. I just don't want to. I'm trying to figure out orientation. I see something like that. I love how around Land Rover will stop at nothing to complicate an easy job. Bravo. Your sophistication. It's retarded. Alright. So what's dangling over your head by a wire? Let me give you no room to work a wrench whatsoever. And well, you'd think that's the worst part. That's just the warm up. And I believe that bolt's twisted on the inside of that. Perfect. I know it's broken. Man, that flame heat shield. I probably should have followed somebody else's advice and took that off. They'll always do something stupid, so I can't let this project be any different. When it won't fit, just start prying. You know, while I thought this would fit in here, I'm afraid I'm about to find out it don't. I should have just went to Rock Auto instead of eBay, but we'll see. Oh, here we go. Nah, I think it's okay. I don't usually order car parts on Amazon. It's actually pretty rare. Just to test the starter, I'm actually just gonna do the one lock wheel. I'm just gonna do the one bolt trick, you know. Just pretend that's enough. And so, if you want something really incredibly hard to do, try lining this up. I'll tell you, this thing right here. This thing right here just makes me want to complain. I don't like the way it's put together. I don't admire anything about that, engine wise. You guys that know me know I don't even like a Chevrolet. Well, guess what? This top hat engine, as they call it, it's a 1940s GM. Flop. Almost hit me in the face. But, yeah, Land Rover didn't design this engine. General Moron did. And there ain't nothing wrong with a fish rod engine. I ain't knocking that. So don't get me wrong about that or something, but I know you're probably ask yourself the same question I am. Well, if you hate GM so much, why are you putting another transmission behind one when you don't like that engine? It is cheaper to replace an engine too. Not everybody gets to do what they want. Some of us have to work too hard for that, so this engine runs and drives. And I almost dare to say reliable, but if it hears me, it'll lay down and quit probably. So I just switched to the top side to see if I could line that up easier. I'm pretty sure I got a bite on that. If you've got sausage fingers, I'm just going to tell you, save yourself a lot of cussing. Take it to somebody else. Somebody with long skinny fingers do a lot better than this. I just got medium sized short fingers, so I may have just got popped the start. Hopefully it really is the right size. I only just kind of looked at it for a second. I'm not sure what kind of really got going on there, but here you go. You got a bottom bolt right there, which you can almost see. Oh, you see the bucket on it. And then you got one up here at the top, on the other side of the starter solenoid. Alright, got the starter in there, so let's see what happens when you connect up this battery. It's been sitting since, I don't know, February or March. About 9 months. Let's give it some juice and see if it blows up in my face or flings gas everywhere. Yeah, just a little kind of sparkles. Nothing too devastating. I know. Some of you didn't see the video I made when I did this engineering feat here. I gotta put it the other way. Yeah. It's barely in there, but yeah. I most certainly did. It'll take a commercial truck battery now. Red wire is the ground, and you got 2 hots there. I'll just start and run the rest of the junk. First, I just want to see if it'll even crank. The lights are on in here. It's a good sign, I guess. What gear does it say it's in? Warning gear. Well, good, I didn't make the fuel line leak. But what gear are we really in? See, it'll usually show you right over here in this area. Right there, but it doesn't. It just shows it's got 130,000 miles on it. And doing the shifter won't do anything. Man, will it not start over that? So, I'm going to put the shift selector for a second and I'll bring it back. There we go. I'm convinced that it's in park now. There we go, so it does still run. Alright, there I got the torque converter out. Sorry guys, I did not tape that nightmare. You got 4 13mm bolts and surely you can figure it out. Okay. Here, I got a treat for you. Let's try this thing out. No exhaust on it and all that kind of stuff. You can sit back here and sit back and watch. Alright, so I'm looking for a truck that says RL on the side of it, and it's got my transmission for my Rover. Right there he sits too. I'll just get up next to him there. I don't want to have the camera out and make it look weird. Alright, so here we are. I'm not quite sure. I guess that's a lifting strap for me to carry it like a pocketbook. Pallet right there. It's just beat off. I'm mixed droid. seatbelt off a car to pick it up with. Let me get this bag off there and bring it back. Alright, so here's what I got. And the tag says it's from an '03 Disco. So, 165,000 miles on it too. There's a wonderful rusted up torque converter. Clean that off. Clean the thing up some. It's kind of hard to see out here, but just figure out if anything dripping from it. Looks like they tried to. Get over here and look at where I got the shift cable off, because that probably got quite frustrating for him. That's okay, at least they can cut the wires off. I'll plug it there. Looks like some pins are been on that one a little bit. Pan looks straight. Let's see. Cracks in the bell housing or the case. Yeah. Looks like what you'd expect for 165,000 miles on it. See, there's what kind it is. It's a 4HP-24. It's a 4-speed with no overdrive. Looks like it cut a plug off there. And crimped the trans fluid lines. So I think it's okay. I don't think the shifter's tore it up or nothing. So I just now got it off the crate now. Look at that pathetic crate or pallet. That's just crazy. So anyway, when it's more daylight, I'll get this thing cleaned up, get a better video of it. Moreover, really just get it stuffed into the Land Rover. Alright, so here's what I wound up with. It does look like it's in good shape. Did go over it, and all the ears are on the bell housing or tabs or whatever you want to call that. Nothing's busted off of it. I haven't looked at the pan yet though. But if the pan's bad shape, I got a pan for it. That's not a big deal. All the connectors look good. Maybe that pin's bent just a tick right there, but I'm going to concern myself with that. They at least made sure that the plugs were on there. If they did do any wire cutting, they at least didn't cut the plug off. So I'm definitely happy about that. It's a 4HP-24. 4-speed automatic with lock-up converter. There we go. 2003 Land Rover. There's the. Alright, let's try this again with the camera card, or memory card in the camera this time. So there's the VIN number off the donor truck and 165 killion miles. Definitely looks like had an oil leak, and it's probably from the rear main seal on the engine. everything's bad about leaking on the Land Rover. I didn't see any direct evidence of the transmission itself leaking, so hopefully it doesn't. Look on the underneath side, everything probably is alright. And people are probably wondering, so how much is that going to run you? Well, I made an offer on it. They wanted $750 shipped for it, so I spent less than that on it. So there's the donor. Alright, let's get these 6 bolts out of the transmission pan. These are what they look like. Don't worry about separating it from that little block. There's 6 of them, 3 on either side. 10mm. Best way I know how to do this. Just turn my gun down a little bit because it's pretty mean. I won't break anything off. Probably won't though. So I got 1 bolt left. I don't know if there's trans fluid in it. So here, and ooh, it's gonna make a mess. But this is my donor transmission, and before I go any further with it, I need to find out if it what the pan looks like. Probably gonna put a new filter on her too. Drained it. Didn't take the pan off of it. They drained her. I can live with it. It smells like used transmission fluid. It don't smell burnt. Here's what it looks like. Now that's pretty. That's pretty good, I think, for 165,000 miles, I think it said it had on it. I mean, no, it's not red. It looks like it hasn't been changed. It might be the factory fluid, or maybe they did the 30,000 on there. But, magnet ain't that bad at all, so transmission looks like it might be promising. I mean, yeah, there's stuff on there. I don't know, it's not perfect or nothing, but this is what I would consider normal for transmission with this kind of mileage on it. So yeah, I'm not worried about sticking this back up in there. I mean, look at the fluid right here where it's not sitting in there in the very bottom of the pan. It's red. So, yeah. I believe I'll be driving the Land Rover for too much longer. Hopefully a week. Alright, so I'm taking off the transfilter here. Okay, yeah, there's a O-ring there on that. You want to make sure that they don't get stuck right there in that receiving end. I definitely see some little stuff in there. It's kind of hard to tell, I guess. I don't know. But we'll just stick that in there for funner times. Let me explain to you where the bolts are. Sorry. So it goes like that. This is where the engine connects to transmission, obviously. You got 2 bolts right there. And then you got one there at the spout. They are a T27 Torx. The one at the back over here where the spout is, it's longer to accommodate for that, since these all need to be shorter, so just don't screw that up if you can help yourself. Don't lose your bolts. I hope this video can help you, since it's not in the vehicle. It's kind of easier to get lighting and see under here and all that good stuff. I would stick those bolts back in there, but if the transmission falls, just break them off in the valve body. Here's the torque converter out of that thing. I think I did do a video already, but in case I didn't get it good enough, can you see the bluing on the inside of that? That puppy got hot. And he just blew all the way around right here. I don't know how it didn't blow out the front seal. Because look at the front of the trans. Looks like the front's still there. I mean, what you see there is motor oil. So I'm going to see about ordering up a new gasket, because the existing one, they said it's seen better days and it's getting close to being 20 years old, so it's probably a good idea to replace that. So we're going to do that. I'm going to look on Rock Auto and then eBay and see what the difference is in the price torture on that, and the filter as well. From what I think I remember, because I know I did this once before, the filters on these are a little pricey. I hope not. It's kind of why I stuck that there, because if that's going to be the case, then I'm just going to try and flush it out the best I can manage. I mean, after all, it is used transmission. I didn't just rebuild it or nothing. Yeah, there you go. It's a 4HP-24. I hope you liked this video, and I hope it's helping you out. And as always, praise the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. May He richly bless you and your families. Take care. I love y'all.